Hey folks, Mark Guido here with Grand Adventure. Welcome back. Now, as you already know, we have a proclivity for camping in some really out-of-the-way locations. Now that we're preparing to hit the road full time, however, we can finally justify the cost of putting a cell phone signal booster in our RV. On this episode of Grand Adventure, we are going to first test and then install the WeBoost 4GX RV cell phone signal booster. So stick around. Now let's start by unboxing this puppy. First come into the box, we have an overview of the installation, the owner's manual with a support phone number and website that you can call or check online to help you with the installation. And all these boxes are actually labeled. Install box A, start with this, shows you what step the contents in the owner's manual are related to. That's kind of nice, actually. We'll open up install box A and see what we have in here. Of course, I could have had a sharp knife handy, but I do not. Oh, and even inside this, they're individually labeled. Step 1 is the outside antenna on the roof. Steps 2, 3, 6, and 8. This box includes accessories for outside installation and power to drive the booster. That's just a little bit of cardboard. And here we have install box B. Second installation box, step contents 4, 5, and 7. You know, I'm going to make life easier on myself and actually use a key instead of my fingernail. Let's see what we got in here. Steps 4 and 5 on the left side. These are the... okay, that's the inside booster itself. And step 7, the indoor antenna. Now, for anything that requires a major permanent installation, I've learned long ago the hard way to do a test install first to make sure that everything works and works to my satisfaction before I complete the permanent installation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a mock-up installation where I'm going to put the outside antenna where it goes on the roof. That's the first step anyway, so I will do that. But then I'm going to run the line temporarily through the slide into the galley area of the RV, hook everything up, plug everything in, make sure that it not only works, but it gives me a decent boost, because right here at my house, I have a really lousy signal. So this is the outside antenna. It comes with a pole mount that I'm going to use to mount it right here on our the side of our ladder. That way it's free of obstructions. It's above anything nearby on the roof line. It's as high as possible without a separate pole. So there we go. We now have the antenna permanently affixed to the ladder. Now when it comes time to permanently mount this, I'll be running the antenna line from there to, you see that little vent next to my television antenna. That actually goes straight down into my entertainment center, which is where I'm going to be mounting the receiver, or the booster I should say, and the inside antenna. But for now, we're just going to run the line through the door to test it out. Now these are the last remaining components of the booster. This is the cell phone booster itself. We're going to end up wall mounting this over on the entertainment center when it comes time. This is the 120 household AC adapter to power the booster. When we do the permanent install, we're going to be hardwiring it into our 12-volt system instead. And this is the inside antenna. So all we have to do is connect the outside antenna to the port that says outside antenna. Go figure. connect the inside antenna to the port that, lo and behold, says inside antenna. And we're going to plug it in. Okay, we have power. Now, just going to move this a little distance away to further the separation between the inside antenna and the outside antenna that's up on the roof. So that's basically the setup. Obviously, when we permanently install it, it's not going to be as nasty looking and unkempt looking as all this is right now. This is just for testing purposes. Now let's take a look at what our signal is without the booster. We'll go into my settings, we'll go into connections, and we'll go into mobile networks. And you can see down there under signal strength, I'm getting about minus 113, minus 115, minus 117 decibels of signal, which is really, really lousy. That's what I'm getting inside the trailer right now. Now here it is with the booster running. You can see that we're getting 92 decibels inside, in the exact same spot inside the trailer. So a little better than 20, maybe 22, 23 decibel gain in signal strength. Oh, it just went down to 91 decibels. So we are getting a significant improvement. Nowhere near the up to 50 decibels that's advertised, but obviously that's going to vary depending on the signal that it's boosting. Okay, let's try something different. Let's try seeing what our data throughput rate is by running a speed test. This is unboosted, using Verizon 4G inside the trailer. See, not even getting a signal. It's showing 4G in the status indicator, but I can't even make a connection. Try it one more time here. The bars went up, although we all know that the bars are an inaccurate indicator of signal strength. No, we just lost 4G completely. We're not able to do it unboosted. Now let's try running the speed test with a boosted signal. See if we have any better success. Bang! Goes right into the speed test. Where we couldn't even run a speed test before, we're actually able to connect and have usable data. Now it's not an impressive number. It's only a little over 2 megabits per second right now up. And we'll find out what down, and we'll find out what the up is right here, excuse me. But regardless, that's a significant improvement over not being able to get anything with the unboosted signal inside our RV. Yeah, it looks like we're getting similar numbers upload to what we got for a download speed. Well, even better. Even better upload speed than download speed. Big improvement. So by anybody's measure, I think that's a successful test. Minus 120 decibels is a dead zone, and you may recall we were getting unboosted minus 117 decibels, so that's darn near a non-existent signal. With the booster, we were actually getting almost as good as you can get. Minus 90 decibels is an excellent 4G signal, and we were getting in the low to mid 90s. So again, I call that a successful test. I therefore think it's time to move forward with the permanent installation. The plan's going to be to run the cable across my roof to that vent and go down into the trailer via that vent. Eventually, we're going to cover this all up with roof sealant tape to seal the cable against the roof. First thing I need to do, however, is remove that lap sealant from around the vent. So now I'm going to get to work on that project, trying not to damage the rubber roof in the process, of course. Ah, so that's the color my roof used to be. This is going to take a while. Now I'm a graduate of the School of Good Enough, and I think we've got enough of that lap sealant off that we can get that off after removing those screws, and when we put it back, reapply a good seal. And voila! Sort of. Something's hanging on there. Looks like the roof material is actually caught inside the vent. Pull this vent cover and see if we can see what's going on. Okay, so we got the cover off. Turns out it was just pinched here between the pipe and the ring of the vent cover. Now comes the tricky part, and that is trying to fish this down through the existing hole. Easier said than done. There's not a lot of clearance between that vent pipe and the ceiling. So now that the cable has been successfully fished down to the entertainment center where I plan on mounting the booster, it's time to seal all this back up. I drilled a hole in the side of the vent cover so that way we'll keep a flush mount against the roof. Just have to put these screws back in, and then we're going to apply self-leveling lap sealant across everything to seal it up against the weather. Now the last step to sealing and weatherproofing everything up here is to reapply the self-leveling lap sealant. Some folks refer to this as Dicor. It's just a brand name, kind of like Kleenex. And this stuff will all level itself out. Don't be shy with it. This stuff will, on a flat surface, will level itself out and seal up all around everything. Which is a good thing, because I am not the neatest caulking guy in the world. That ought to do it. Just try and hold this so it doesn't drool all over my roof. Put this cap back on. So, except for one final step that's going to do it up here, what I'm going to be using is some roof sealant tape. Again, if we're going to talk brand names, Eternabond tape. But the roof sealant tape, I'm going to put across this cable to seal it against the roof all the way back to the antenna. That'll keep it from flopping around in the wind, and that stuff is permanent. They don't call it Eternabond, there we go, for nothing. A little bit extra around that's not going to hurt. Okay, so let's head inside. So now here we are in the rig. This is the line that came down from the roof. It came down along the vent pipe, which is inside this column, and then came out through an opening here and up through this hole that was already there for some of the TV equipment. My intent is to mount the WeBoost right here. I'm going to use the 12 volt hardwire adapter rather than a 110 because I want to have it when we're on battery and actually splice it into the power leads for the stereo, which I've pulled out of the wall right here. I think this is going to be a nice clean install. Let's see how this goes. So there you have it. Got the booster mounted underneath the television. Power is coming off the 12 volt that's also feeding the stereo. I've got the inside antenna right here and the outside antenna. You've already seen that installation. I'm going to put an Amazon link down below in the description. Now, just so you understand, we're not being compensated in any way. We went out and spent $500 on this WeBoost. But I'll put the Amazon link down below in case anybody would like to get one of these cell phone boosters for their own RV. Now here I've got the roof sealant tape. We're going to use this to put the cable right up against the, flush against the roof, so it's not flapping around or anything like that. Like I said, this stuff is extremely permanent. You want to apply pressure, get the air out as much as you can. Don't put your finger in the wet lap sealant. We're just going to work our way back. And there's the finished tape job from one end to the other, holding the cable in place. So there you have it. Honestly, the install wasn't that bad. It was about 3 hours start to finish, which for a guy who's not very handy like me, I'm kind of pleased. That wasn't bad at all. We hope this information's been useful to you. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up down below. If you're not yet one of our grand adventurers, come along for the ride. We're about to hit the road full time. Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you get instant notifications of each new upload. And until next time, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you soon.